You've always had a skill set built for marketing, but you can't seem to land a job amongst the sea of other marketers trying to get into the business. Before you get too discouraged, here's 3 things to increase your odds and be more memorable to employers. This advice can be applied to really any job seeker, not just marketers. My experience over the past 8 years at different companies has been hiring and firing people in marketing and sales capacities. I'm going to talk to you about how to stay on my shortlist, how to be memorable to an employer, and most importantly, increase your chances of getting that interview. Once your foot's in the door, that's half the battle. First up on the list, stop writing antiquated resumes. Get rid of that practice altogether. And when I say antiquated, I mean that old school format. Personal career objective. This is my professional summary. What we're trying to do at this level is just make sure that we're a solid fit from a practical standpoint, a hard skills standpoint, a soft skills standpoint. There's a lot of things I don't care about at this stage because I've received 50, maybe 100 plus resumes, and I have to skim the best of the best out of them. Your goal right now is to get yourself memorable so I don't forget you. Don't worry about all the frivolous things. Don't tell me what your 5-year plan is on your resume. Don't tell me what you did in high school on your resume. Focus on your skills, focus on your relevant experience. That's really what we want to see. How can we work with this person's skill sets to further the joint goal of getting the company pushed ahead? Because that's what I'm going to be looking for. This takes passion, and I want to see passion. That means that I want to see a fair amount of skills. I want to see a lot of just relevant work and experience for those entry-level people. That means I want to see you understanding these platforms from a personal level. In that same line, stop trying to fill these gaps in your work history. I know that's something that a lot of people say, you can't have gaps in your work history. It's pointless. There's no reason to fill these gaps. It's said that way because back in the day, everything was based around loyalty to a company. I don't care about loyalty to my company. If you find a better job, go. That's awesome. That's what I want for my people. I want them to excel and follow their passions and pursue that. Having to fill these gaps. It's such an antiquated practice. Do you know what I enjoy seeing? I love seeing gaps on the resume because when I decide to interview that person, it gives me something to talk about. Hey, I see that you took 2 years off here. What'd you do? Oh, you took care of your family? That tells me more than you moonlighted for DoorDash. That tells me more about the quality of your character. That tells me more about your personality. Relevant work experience is so much greater than just non-relevant work experience. So focus on the relevant stuff because ultimately that's what I'm focusing on too. If I see that you've worked at McDonald's and I'm running a marketing agency over here, well, did you do anything marketing related at McDonald's or were you just working at McDonald's? There's absolutely nothing wrong with food service whatsoever. It's a very necessary industry, but this is a marketing job that you're applying for. So why are we including all the irrelevant experience? Lastly on the resume, why are you just giving me everything right here? Save a little bit for the interview. Add a layer of mystique. Add a little bit of, I want to talk to this person further into your resume. Something to make yourself memorable. Because honestly, I may not be looking for that, but I'm going to remember the resume. I may not remember your name, but hey, what was the person that worked on this project? I'm going to remember that. Second, and this is kind of a big one for me, be consistent and timely. It is more important than you think. I've had so many people send me their resume. We go back and forth via email, and then I schedule up that Zoom call or I schedule up that interview. No call, no show. Even if you reschedule with me, if you don't have a valid reason for why that happened, a family emergency or something like that, I'm going to really heavily consider your work ethic. I'm going to really heavily consider if I can depend on you. I'm going to consider your integrity. Do you want your prospective employers to be considering those things for you? We're only as good as our word. When we make a commitment, we have to keep that commitment. Yeah, I'll email it right after this call. Email it right after that call. Yeah, I'll make sure that I have that completed by the end of the day. Complete it by the end of the day. I'll give you a call on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Call them on Wednesday at 9 a.m. It's that simple. But for some reason, so many people out there don't do that. They'll say something that they can't practically commit to. That alone is going to just shoot you in the foot. Following up and calling people back and things like that is just part of this job seeking game. You can't just put a bunch of things onto Indeed.com or go to LinkedIn.com and upload your resume there and expect career making moves to happen. You do have to put in the legwork regardless of what those advertisements make it look like it is. Call people, follow up with them after their interviews. I appreciate that. The fact that you went that extra mile is going to stay with me. A lot of your competitors that are in the market with you don't do that. In fact, the majority of them don't. I put out out a job listing several months ago, and we had over 80 people apply for that position. Now, of those 80 people, about 20, maybe 30 were qualified, and so I started reaching out to schedule up a couple interviews. About half of them just didn't respond back to me. Can't do anything about that. So I didn't even bother reaching out to them a second time because the boat had already sailed, and I had active candidates ready to go for the position. So I reached out to those 10 people, and of those people I started scheduling interviews. 3 just didn't show up to their interview. So they immediately got pushed to the side, and I focused on the ones that did. That is how it works. When you don't show up to your commitments, you can't expect people to want to move forward with you. And that's a big thing, and I feel like it's not talked about that much. It's something that you really have to get on the ball of if you want to land a quality opportunity for your marketing career. You have to be the one that shows up. A lot of people, they look at this, calling somebody back after an interview or following up with them regularly, that's so rude. I don't want to do that. I hear you. It may seem rude, but I'll be honest with you, I want you. I'm hiring somebody with your skill set, and there's a lot of people competing for that role. Why wouldn't you want to stand ahead? It's not rude to follow up after an interview and thank somebody for their time. It just isn't. And in fact, it's one of those things that's going to push you ahead of everybody else. Because in the back end, we all turn to each other and say, oh yeah, that person, yeah, they followed up with me. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. That's what you want. You want us talking about you after you left. Quick note, check out your social media, clean it up or set it to private, one or the other. We see it all the time. Somebody says something or does something outlandish on social, the people on social media figure out where that person works and they go after the business. In business, you have assets and you have liabilities. At what point does a business understand that you're too much of a liability to be hireable? And there's a lot of people who don't understand that it's the things that you're posting on social media, the way you're interacting with other people, the language you use, the behavior you have. It's those types of things that may be preventing you from even getting the interview in the first place. The last thing you might be doing is specializing to a fault. And I know that may not make sense, so let me explain. Bruce Lee once famously said, "Be like water, my friend." Now, what does that mean? It means adapt to the situation. When you pour water into a container, it molds itself to the shape of that glass. We need to be the same way. And a lot of people have heard the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. There's a lot of people out there, myself included, who argue that it's only half of the phrase. Jack of all trades, master of none. Oftentimes better than the master of one. You might have overspecialized. I run a small business. Now, I'm not telling my people that they have to know all of these different disciplines, but they need to know how they all interact. The people writing copy need to understand how advertisements and targeting work, so that way the copy marries the advertisements. The people designing our creative also have to understand how search engine optimization works, so that way the keywords and the imagery can all marry together. In order to be a successful marketer, you at least have to have a general understanding of how different departments work. And if you pursue small businesses specifically, which hire more than the big businesses, if you overspecialize, there's a chance you might be diminishing your value. I can't say this from a general standpoint because there's people out there who will specialize in one specific thing and have incredible success. Again, I'm talking about marketing, not brain surgery. Be adaptable. That's what we're really looking for. I don't look for somebody who understands every single aspect of marketing. I look for somebody who can work with all of my different departments. Because if I bring you in and you just are an island focusing on your own thing, I'm not going to get the results that we expected out of you. And that ultimately is a risk. And that risk might be preventing you from getting in the door. In addition to that, it's about showing up every single day. It's about living your passion, finding your purpose, and making sure that you show that to the world. Marketers can read passion. It's something that we wear on our sleeves. And the good marketers, you can see it every single day, how much they love what they do. Ultimately, if you focus on growth and knowledge, money comes. As you're going out and pursuing your first job, or maybe looking for another job, focus on some growth and knowledge, and you'll be surprised at how quick the new change is going to come. If you want to talk more about the struggles you're experiencing with your job search, leave a comment below and I'll let you know what I think. I'm Kevin Gray, CEO of Supermassive Media. Don't forget to subscribe to the next one, and we'll see you again.